Welcome to the first video about the theoretical model of middle leadership. This video is about exploring the factors that influence the success or effectiveness of middle leaders. The model itself was created by John DeNoble from his 2017 article Towards a Theoretical Model of Middle Leadership, and John is based at Macquarie University in Sydney. John took the research around middle leadership and identified a number of factors which influence the success or effectiveness of middle leaders. The first factor which influences the effectiveness of middle leaders is principal support. But because John's based in Australia, when he looks at principal support, he's talking about head teacher support. And he talks about one of the key factors being empowerment and autonomy underpinned by trust from the head teacher. He also talks about school culture, which is related to that trust and empowerment, and the culture of the school has an impact on the effectiveness of the middle leader. In essence, you could be a very effective middle leader, but working in a school where the school culture does not work in the same way as you would thereby limit or lessen your influence or effectiveness. He also refers to the professional development of the middle leaders themselves, and we'll come back to that in a bit more detail when we think about the knowledge of curriculum, pedagogy and assessment. But professional development is important when we think about the effectiveness of middle leadership, because the role of the middle leader is developing and continuing to change and develop. John highlights that the research identifies enthusiasm and drive as having an influence on the effectiveness of middle leaders. It's a challenging job, and therefore without that enthusiasm and drive, the effectiveness of the middle leader would definitely be lessened. Research also identifies a knowledge of curriculum, pedagogy and assessment is critical to the success of the middle leader. The majority of middle leaders are appointed to the role because of their knowledge and experience in these areas. But this is where the link with professional development becomes more important, because it's important to develop the skills and knowledge around sharing these strengths with the team in an effective way to make sure that they can impact wider than the individual. Other is there because this is a relatively new model, and as the research develops, the factors that influence middle leaders in school may well develop as well. So these are the factors that influence from the research the effectiveness of middle leaders. The next video will start to look at the different roles of middle leaders before finally looking at the outputs or impact.